do. But I mean, it's okay.
Okay, okay.
I'm gonna need to go. HDMI, I guess. You can put it here.
It just crashed.
Hello?
Hello, okay, good. You're good? Take it away, Antonio. I didn't give you a really wonderful introduction, but I think if you don't know Antonio and what he's been doing with 3D stereoscopic video, then you might be surprised. So, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Can you hear me well? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, good. First of all, I would like to thank the IVRPA for bringing me back to a conference, and especially Florian and Karin, who are the people that I've been in contact with. Okay, so don't have much time really to cover everything that I want, so I'm gonna have to speed up my talk a little bit, but let's go, yeah? Most of you know me. I'm Antonio. I'm an independent 360-degree content creator. I've been working on this business for a few years now, and done a lot of panoramic photography, but I'm currently more engaged into 360-degree video, and especially these days in a stereoscopic 360 video. So what I am going to talk today, I'm going to show you a latest production, a stereo 3D 360 short movie that I have recently done. And I want to go into the creation pipeline and especially throw some technical insights and some post-production tricks. I mean, I cannot go very deep into all the details, but at least I'll try to throw some ideas there so people can apply them on their own productions. And one of the basic things about my way of working with panoramics is that I try to use panoramic tools always. I mean, I have a small production company. I don't have many resources, so I try to apply what I have and still get the highest quality possible. I mean, I'm very, very keen on quality. Coming from a photographic background, I always try to do that quality work. Yeah. So the project that I'm going to present is called. It's a short movie. It's in a series, Living Spaces. And the client, I mean, I had a client coming to me. They wanted to. They're doing an expo. It's an expo. There is a movie expo. They're like in Spain. I mean, I'm from Spain, and they're doing it in Spain, but they're also like bringing it to other places in Europe. And this movie is part of that expo. It's a wooden company from the north of Spain, and they approached me and they wanted to do a 360-degree video for this expo, and the expo theme goes around the theory of the 6 degrees of separation applied to the boot manufacturing process. So they wanted to have a video, and they wanted to have 6 different locations shown in 360 to be watched on Samsung gear. So they will have some Samsung gears on the expo. People will like use those and watch different spaces where the boot manufacturing process takes place. And they had an outline of what they wanted, and they wanted to cover a forest. They wanted to cover also the factory. They wanted to do also the logistic part, also show something about the design, the craft of the boot, and finally some of the spaces where this is used. Yeah, so that was very clear with the client, but it was an open project. Yeah, the project has been done fully in-house at my production company, and they didn't really want stereo. They just wanted a 360-degree video But I wanted to do it in a stereo, so I suggested the client to do it in a stereo. It was going to be watched on Google's, so I think it made sense. But at the same time, I didn't have much time for the production. So I decided to do a new thing in my way of like processing a stereo, and that is shooting with one camera on the non-parallax point. So I use the right eye, the right camera, I place it on the non-parallax point, and I offset the left camera for the stereo capturing. That way, I could always just use the right eye data to create a standard mono video, and if I had time, process the other eye for the stereo and the depth creation, yeah? That's what I eventually did, yeah? And I only use a panoramic staff photo, yeah? So I used two Sony A7S with two Tokinas, 10-17 at 12 millimeter, and then some Nodal Ninja, Soundwave, and my beloved Manfrotto tripod, yeah? With this setup, I can get 8K stereo photos and 4K stereo videos at 60 frames per second, yeah? So you can see here that it's just like the way we shoot panels. So we have the tripod with the camera on top, and this is just like some photos of the locations where I like shot. So I guess this looks pretty familiar to any panoramic photographer. It's only that I'm using the two cameras, and one camera on the nodal point, the other camera offset. For the post-production software, again, use standard panoramic photo stuff. So I've like used PDGUI for the stitching. For the reprojection of the videos, for speeding up that part, I use Video Stitch. You could also use like batch stitching from PDGUI. And then Photoshop for all the video assembling and post-production, and Premiere for the final video assembling. And also I had the sound built for me, and I asked to have it in spatial sound, so I used Facebook 360 Spatial Workstation to crunch it all together into the final piece. I'm not sure if I, at this point, show you the video. I think I'm going to do that. So I'll show you the video so you have an idea. This is just the mono part. I mean, the video is not really published on the internet, so if you want to watch it, come back to me later, and we can watch it on the Gear VR.
This is where everything begins. In the forest, our planet's lungs. An organ that is vital both for life and for our industry. A sustainable ecosystem that we must care for and preserve.
The idea also was that
That is our responsibility.
in terms of
To
storytelling,
preserve the forest and appreciate its
360
value.
panoramics, I mean, in these sort of videos, you could look anywhere around.
The
and
industry
I
is
think
our
it would make
heart.
sense, it would
A
make sense
powerful,
anywhere, because we are
high-precision
inside a
machine.
factory, so the story is
At our
happening
production
all over,
plants,
which is the beauty of
technology,
360
experience,
imaging.
and knowledge come
I mean, there's a
together
lot
to
of
transform our
talking
most
these days
precious raw
about
material into products with
storytelling in
enhanced
360,
characteristics,
but I am
thus
very
making the
basic when it
most
comes
out
to
of
that. I mean, I'm a
available
panoramic
resources.
photographer, so the
Like
place
blood
is the
flowing
story.
through arteries, our
So in this
logistics
particular
network
video, you could
supplies
look
the
anywhere and
distribution
still
chain.
like feel that you are in the factory, that you're in the forest,
Products
and
have
of
to
course
be
they're like
where and
happening.
when the
There are
customer
things
needs
happening
them.
around.
In order
I mean,
for
I've
everything
presented
to
in
flow
some past
seamlessly,
occasions my
a
way
key
of recording,
principle
and this
must
is
be
basically
upheld.
it, you know? I'm
Reliability.
recording with only one camera, so things are not happening all at the same
Architects,
time.
interior decorators,
In this
and
particular
designers
case, I
are
recorded
restless
this
and
video
creative
here,
minds. They are the
and then
brain that
another video
interprets
there.
the customer's needs, processes the user's information, and converts ideas, concepts, and materials into projects that completely transform spaces.
I decided to do about 30 seconds per take, which is, I think, enough time so you can look around. On 360-degree video, you cannot have very short takes. You cannot have
The
a
hands of a
1-second take as in
carpenter
traditional video,
embody
because
the
then you don't
know-how,
have time to look around.
expertise, and attention to detail.
And also, using a
That
DSLR
is the
camera
craft.
gives us more power in terms of dynamic range. And again, I use a
Through
background
them,
photo
wood and
and some
designs are
videos on top of
transformed
this.
into
So the
real
background photo
tangible
is actually
objects,
HDR,
which will accompany us in
which
our
like
daily
lets you
lives.
pull a lot more of details out of the lighting. And especially because I didn't use any, it was all natural light.
A path whose first step is taken in the forest, and that brings us here, anywhere in the world, in only 6 steps. The connections among all these elements are like parts of the same body.
I mean,
of a
it's
living
I'm
organism,
displaying it
which make
rectangular,
up
but I
our
assume
living
that
spaces.
all of us understand that this is 360. So if you just like watch it on a 360 viewer
Spaces
or in the
that
Googles,
arise
we
our
just like watch the
emotions
limited space that
and
we
awake
want
our
to focus on.
senses, which ultimately bring us to life. Spaces connected by wood.
And what the client wanted also is that this expo is for architects, for designers, for people that are like working or they work with. And many of these people have never been to, well, most of us have been to a forest, but many of those people haven't been to a factory or they haven't been to the crafting area. So they wanted to put people in those spaces which are sometimes limiting in terms of like accessing. Okay. So, thank you. So, at this stage, I want to go through the project workflow. I cannot go very deep into every single point. I just want to probably go deeper into the assembling part, which I think is what you guys could probably use in your own productions. Yeah, but I mean, there's an image capturing part. Then the photo backplate that I always use in my sort of videos, the stitching templates and reprojections, yeah, and the important part, video assembling, and the final sound and video editing, yeah. So in terms of image capturing, it's just a standard panoramic approach. So I just shoot a photo. In this case, it's a panoramic photo, and after taking that photo, I repeat some of the positions for video, and I script these positions, yeah. So, for instance, this is basic a script. So I would shoot 3 videos, 4 videos, 2 videos, depending on the situation. I just have to make sure that nothing comes out of frame in my videos. So that's why it has to be scripted. So about the stereo photo backplate, this is a very, very important part of it. I'm seeing softwares coming out these days that do stereo stitching, and sometimes, I mean, and what I've observed is that so many of these softwares do a very good job when it comes to stitching the seams, but they create some artifacts in some other areas of the video, yeah? With multi-camera systems, or when you shoot a stereo, there is parallax. And parallax means that things do not stitch properly, as when you shoot on the non-parallax point, yeah? So for me, it's very important to have a very good reference backplate in a stereo. Very important, yeah? And I'll show you later why. So let me just open, I'll show you the source videos for this one. So for the photo, I mean, I tend to take many pictures when it comes to stereo. I do 36 or 72 pictures around, just to play safe, although eventually I normally use them all. And what's good also about this is that I can change, I mean, this was shot raw, and I've developed my raw, and I've changed the exposition accordingly to where I'm looking at. So I have a high dynamic range here. So that would be the left eye, neither zenith, and the right one. Okay. So rather than taking 6 pictures around that I would do if I was shooting mono, I'm taking a lot of pictures, and that would be videos. Yeah. I'm synchronizing with the flash. I'm going to use this. I took 7 different scenes. I'm going to use this one for example. It's a simple one.
Entonces, empezamos ya.
Sí.
Pues cando eso.
Sí, trabajar ya. Antes de trabajar, estoy grabando. This guy here is Bernard Castard, who helped me for the production. Some of you guys know him. So another good friend of mine and a good panoramic photographer as well. Okay. So let me show you, I mean, I'm not going to do the stitching. Let me just show you the panoramic photo. So that would be my panoramic backplate, stereo photo. This would be a left eye or right eye. And as you can see, I take many pictures with help also minimizing the stitching errors. So in this particular case, 72, which especially help on these sort of like areas, on the straight lines, yeah? Because there's parallax, this minimizes that. And in the end, I do that for the left eye, I do that for the right eye. I'll show you the two. So that would be left eye and right eye. So that would be my stereo photo. And as I said, it's important to have a nice stereo backplate reference, because now I'm going to stitch my videos with that backplate. But from starters, if we watch this photo, it's a nice stereo photo already. So once I have the photo and I have the separate videos, I need to put these together. So I do an extra step here that is using the backplate and stitching the videos on top of that. And I'll show you that. What's nice, I mean, about the new, I did this with PDGUI 10. Okay, let me open the right eye first. Right eye, as I said, was shot on the nodal point, so everything stitches really nicely. So this would be the backplate and the videos on top. And that works really good, okay, for the right eye. And for the left eye, which has all the parallax thrown into, I'll have a similar thing, but this doesn't stitch that nicely. So you will see, for instance, on this corner here, we see that it doesn't like match the thing. But I have a nice reference point. So right eye is good, left eye, it has some errors. But the back plate is a good stereo plate. So once that is done, I need to reproject all videos into an equirectangular format. And I do that using Video Stitch. I could also, I mean, if doesn't necessarily need to be Video Stitch, you could use, if you use PDGUI, you could do it with batch rendering. I'm doing it with Video Stitch because it's much faster. And I'm also trying to process all my videos. The videos were captured in MP4, H.264, and I've done all the synchronization and handling of the videos with a nice little application which is called a Smart Cutter that would just let me chop like parts of the video without losing or recompressing those videos. And from that point on, I all the time work in ProRes, just to avoid any artifacts, any compression artifacts. I'll show you the Video Stitch part. So if I have Video Stitch here, I'm gonna throw, let's do it with the left eye. I'm gonna throw my backplate on Video Stitch. I'm gonna throw two of the videos, left and left. And I'm gonna apply my template. That will be it. I'll remove this so we can see what it's doing. And we have the reprojected video, yeah. So this lets me like very fastly export this into a rectangular for one eye and for the other eye. A stereo is complicated because you have to deal with lots of different like files, so it's very important to be very organized. So once I have that done, I end up with this. I mean, there's nothing new in this with respect to what I've like presented in some past occasions. So you want to like go deeper into this, you can check like some past like years talks. Okay, that's for one eye and for the other eye. All right, and let's go into like the part that I think that is like gonna be most useful for you guys, yeah? And it's the video assembling from Photoshop. And there's a new thing that I'm like applying these days, which is warping. So warping is like a hot topic these days. So all softwares are like doing warping to correct seams. We can do that directly from Photoshop. I'm doing it for my stereo productions, but you could also do it for panoramic photos or mono videos as well. And it would like work very nicely as well, yeah? So let us go and do that now. And so let me go onto the right eye first. Don't have much time. I'm going to go directly into the left eye, which is the right eye will stitch very nicely. If I throw the back blade and I throw those videos and I apply some mask, there will be no stitching errors. There will be stitching errors on the left eye, so I'm going to use that one. So I will show you that like nice little trick that I am applying these days. So that would be the two videos. And this is where things can get a little bit messy. So I have my two videos. Just clean this up a little bit. I put them both. I'm working from Photoshop. Photoshop handles like MP4 videos directly. So I have the two videos there. And now I need a backplate. So I'll go and look for the backplate. I'll just scale it to 4K. So this is what I've already like presented in some past occasions. I extend this backplate frame. Okay, so what I'm doing here now to apply the warping, first of all, what I do is I chop off with a mask part of the frame. So I create that mask, and I have that part there. Let me just move the video so we can have a look there. Okay. And same thing for the other video. Okay. So this is the tricky step here. I apply a smart filter, convert for smart filters on that one, convert for a smart filter on that other one. And these videos do not exactly match what we have behind, but we can play with warping here. So I find out that if we do that initial masking, then I do another mask on top of the video, on the folder that I am putting my videos on. Hold on. Okay. So we started to see things there. And we can observe here that things don't exactly match the background. And this is like the nice trick that I am applying, that is using Puppet Warp to adjust things. So I can go into Puppet Warp for that video. That create a... All right. What's the time? 24, okay. I think you get more or less the idea of the process. What I'm going to do is open the final file so you can like have a look at the thing. Otherwise, we're going to run out of time. But again, it's masking